I'm pretty sure that my sense of Christmas joy peaked for me somewhere around 8 years old. All of my strongest holiday memories are from that age and before, when all of my family holiday traditions were intact, when the magic was still there. Before any of the stress and pressures of the holidays were even a part of my awareness. Ever since then, I've been chasing that feeling, that perfect blend of tradition and surprise, activity and rest, ordinary and extraordinary. I would imagine that I'm not the only one who peaked early when it came to holiday joy. There is magic to these holidays for all ages, but there is something about the childhood sense of wonder that just makes it all the more miraculous seeming. This year, with a 3-year-old in my house, I am getting the first glimpse of this from the outside. Everything about Christmas is joyous and wonderful to my preschooler, who often uses superlatives to describe things that seem perfectly ordinary to me. She was so excited about starting her Advent calendar, which doesn't even have chocolate in it, that she practically needed a countdown calendar to the first day of December, when she got to open that first little door. We are taught from early on to value the superlatives in life, not just at the holiday season, but all year round. There's a character on the sitcom How I Met Your Mother named Barney, who is best known for declaring that every night is going to be legendary. Actually, his full catchphrase is legend, wait for it, and then he pauses for dramatic effect, dairy. This is going to be legendary. And then he tries to make it so, seeking to convince the rest of the cast, a group of friends in their 20s living in New York City, to go out on the town with him, seeking epic adventures. In the show, they often don't agree to his hijinks, but even when they do, it doesn't always turn out to be legendary. In fact, there's at least one episode when they realize at some point in the night that they'd be much happier just sitting in their same old booth at their same old bar, talking the night away, than they would going out and seeking whatever was that legendary ideal. And of course, not every night can be legendary, no matter how hard you try. The legendary eventually becomes ordinary, or everything goes wrong, and epic turns into epic fail instead. Sometimes seeking the legendary can backfire completely and keep us from seeing the ordinary joy that was there all along. In the holiday season especially, it can be easy to fall into the trap that Barney does, of always seeking out the legendary. This year, we think we are going to have the best holiday ever. It's going to feel just like it did at 8 years old. We may feel this even more so this year after the disappointments of last year. Christmas presents and menorah lightings on Zoom, celebrating alone, or with the same people that you had seen every day for far too many days in a row. I know for some this year feels like a comeback. Though the pandemic is not at all over, we know more now about how to be together safely. There are opportunities that we did not have last year. And so, whereas last year we might have said, if only we could just be together, that would be enough. This year, some of us are right back at the holiday Olympics, striving for the best and the brightest, trying to create the most joy. But just like Barney and his quest for legendary every night, we can't have the best holiday ever every year. And there are times that our quest for the most joy stops us from seeing the joy that is right in front of us. The thing about the holidays, and especially Christmas, is that we've been sold this image of the ideal holiday. That big, full tree covered in twinkle lights and coordinated ornaments, with beautifully wrapped presents stacked high underneath. Family gatherings full of hugs and smiles and beautiful appetizer trays. Stockings hung perfectly above that crackling fire. The perfect gift for each person. Christmas cards sent out at just the right time and with that ideal family photo. Holiday parties filling every weekend, and trays of cookies baked and put in little beautiful boxes to share with neighbors. I'm sure I could keep going, but you get the idea. When it comes to the holidays, we are told this is what you need to do to be joyful. Often it is big, extravagant, sometimes a little over the top even. And we spend all month waiting for it, counting down the days. Christmas only comes once a year, so it better be good, right? In recent years, there has been this movement to cull out the excess in the holidays, to do less so that we can be more present. And there is deep wisdom there. We don't need all that excess, all that stuff of the holidays. There is big magic in the small moments, in the wonder of connection and love. At the same time, sometimes these calls to simplify can put pressure on us in the opposite direction, to eliminate even those things that do bring you joy. Maybe you love making those beautiful appetizer platters, or going to a holiday party every weekend. Maybe you find deep joy in picking out that perfect present for every person on your list. And maybe the pressure to simplify leaves you feeling guilty, like you shouldn't love those things. And so, as is often my conclusion in debates like this one, I wonder if there might be some middle ground that would serve us all better than either of these extremes. What would it mean to set aside all of these manufactured images of joy in this season? All of the prescriptions to have the right kind of holiday, whether simple or extravagant, and consider instead, what is your joy? Don't worry about what anyone else thinks of it. Just reflect for yourself in this moment, right now. Where is it in all that comes with this holiday season that you find that deep sense of joy? What do you do or not do that gives you hope, even as the nights grow longer and longer? How do you find meaning in the holidays? And then step back for a moment and look at your actual holiday plans. Is your joy in there? How have you made space for it this year? The last several years, the holidays have felt like a stressful mess of logistics to me. With two families who love Christmas to please and no obvious way of sharing the time, Tristan and I spend every single November trying to figure out what we are going to say yes and no to this year. Since having kids, the stress of this has become even more acute because everybody wants us on Christmas. We got a little respite last year, but this year we were back at it. And I decided that we needed a plan that we could do the same way every year. Because the very act of having to figure it all out each time was taking any joy that we might have found out of it. And every time we thought we had a good plan, something happened to turn it all upside down. But this year, I am declaring that we have solved Christmas for good. We even managed it in a way that seems to make everyone happy, at least so far. Ask me in a month about how that all went. And we did it by starting with our joy. We talked about which traditions from each of our families were the most important to pass on to our kids. I was surprised by the answers, even my own. When we actually thought about it, there were only a few things that felt the most important. Top of the list for me was a relaxed morning with time to connect and give. For Tristan, it was a whimsical troll hunt with clues all over the house leading to a hidden Christmas troll. There's still room, of course, for this all to fall apart, but at least we started with our joy. I know it won't be perfect, but I have to say I feel more optimistic about the holiday than I have in many years. Not every year can be the best Christmas ever, nor do I think we really want it to be. It sounds kind of exhausting, actually. But we do want some joy in this season. We want, like Robert Fulgham wrote, to be in the company of people like me, who find in themselves, in the middle of winter, a capacity for joy, small and deep and ordinary. We want to find that big love, whether it comes in moments that are ordinary or extraordinary. So this year, I invite you to start with your joy. Get rid of the things you don't love. Embrace the things you do. And know that even when it feels like it is all falling apart, and it probably will, you can look for the big love, the big joy that shows up anyway in the small, ordinary moments of life. May each of us find space for our deep joy in this season.